So we're at like the three-quarter mark of the season, so I feel like I can discuss scoring and where it is. Currently, I took a look. Scoring is the highest it's been since 2010, but it's really a small difference. It's 0.12 goals per game difference. So it feels like there's all these big, high-scoring games, but what's happening is you're seeing games where both teams have no defense happening. And outside of those games, there's a lot of really good, tight checking, low scoring games going on. I've seen a number of games over the last few weeks that have been 1-1, 2-2, 2-1, 3-1 in the third period, and they've been really, really interesting. So low scoring doesn't, and I've discussed this on my channel before, low scoring doesn't mean low entertainment. And high scoring doesn't mean a great game either. That Winnipeg-Toronto game tonight is an example. Exciting, sure. Great game? No. I don't think either coach is going to use that on a resume. I think they may discuss it with a shrink at some point, but I don't think they're going to put it on a resume. Now, looking at scoring, I've looked at scoring during the year. I've definitely talked about how Getzlaf looked like he was falling apart. He's picked it up. He's got 45 points, 54 games. He leads the Anaheim Ducks in scoring, even though he's played 7 less games than Kessler and Perry. Kessler at 44 points in 61 games is still on pace for a very good season, and he is, in my eyes, probably the best defensive forward in hockey. Datsuk had that until he retired. I would definitely say right now, and I know I hear Toronto fans saying Kadri, but I would still say that Kessler's ahead of Kadri in that category. Corey Perry, though, 11 goals. Man, what happened to his hands, eh? Silverberg 17 and Raquel's 22 make up the difference. So Anaheim's scoring's in good shape. Arizona, I've talked about Verbata before. He has 41 points in 58 games. But here's the thing, and they're talking about him as a rental. Oh, he's going to be this big, good rental. He's only got 12 goals. Okay, so you're not getting a guy who's going to put the puck in the net a lot. And if you're putting him on a secondary role, if you're putting him on a second, third line, he's going to score less than that. So his numbers are propped up a little bit because he's getting a lot of ice time with Arizona that he's not going to get somewhere else. Ekman Larsson's picked it up. Hansel is another one that I think at the deadline, if he's a rental, he could be okay, but don't expect a lot from him. Reeder, no. Domi's played better lately. Dvorak's getting it together. Yeah, that's really the ones worth mentioning. I mean, Doan's got 20 points in 58 games, but Doan's offense is all but dried up. He's only got 5 goals. Boston, Marchand makes me angry. Dirty plays, but one of the best offensive forwards in the league. It's overshadowed by his dirty play. Get it together. Pastrnak, very good season for Pastrnak. He's been incredibly streaky, but very good season. Krejci, I like Krejci, but that minus 13 scary, and Krug's minus 10, he's got to get it together too. Bergeron's been better lately, but his defensive game has taken a step back this year. And Backes has been, well, let's put it this way. Vancouver fans, you guys talk about Louis Eriksson. Backes' totals have been similar to Eriksson's, just with a more physical slide to his game. So, I don't necessarily think that there's any bragging rights on one side or the other. Buffalo. Okpozo's been a beast. O'Reilly in the games I've watched has been very good. He's only got 13 goals. But the games I've watched, I've really enjoyed O'Reilly's game. And I think Reinhardt's rounding out too. Eichel's totals are good for a second-year player. It's funny because due to the fact that he came into the league at the same time as McDavid, it's easy to look and go, well, he's not McDavid, but he was not going to be McDavid. Eichel is Eichel. Very good center, and there's reason to be optimistic in Buffalo. Kane's been playing better lately, better to the point that I don't know, Buffalo may not want to trade him now. I could see that. Molson, if anybody wants to take Molson, they can grab him. Just call Buffalo on the phone. Buffalo will listen. Calgary, Goudreau's starting to pick it up, although he hasn't got the goals. He had 4 assists tonight. Monahan, has got to get it together. Tkachuk's been a very good defenseman, very good forward in his rookie season. 37 points, 55 games. Totally overshadowed by the fact there's so many good rookies this year, but Tkachuk's damn good in his own right. He's just got to clean up his game a little bit. But he's young, so he's got time to clean it up. I remember Keith Tkachuk, his dad, very good physical forward, played clean. So hopefully Matt picks that up from his dad. Backlund's 39 points leads the Flames in 59 games, but I think Calgary would be more focused on the fact that they've got to get other guys going rather than say, oh, Backlund's been our best forward. Hamilton's 34 points, very good. He's not being traded. Anybody who thinks he's being traded is out of their mind. Bennett's been invisible for the most part this year. Carolina, Skinner's their number one scorer. Aho is another rookie who gets lost in the shuffle. Victor Rask, good forward. Jordan Stahl's numbers have been middling, but Jordan Stahl's never an offensive force. I thought Elias Lindholm was going to be good this year. I was wrong. Teravainen's numbers are middling. Stempniak's fallen back to earth after a fantastic year last year. Falk looks really good. I like Slavin, and another guy I like who's not on the scoring list here is Pesce. For whatever reason, I'm always impressed with him when I watch Carolina games. Chicago's got Kane. Chicago's got Panarin, and Taves with a hat trick tonight. So Taves is starting to pick it up. They've got Anisimov, who's been fantastic when he's been in the lineup. And Keith's 41 points in 59 games. I believe that doesn't include tonight's. Keith is always a threat. Hosa's had a very good year when he was supposed to be falling apart. And Panik, 29 points, 15 goals, 59 games. Very serviceable forward. And Hartman putting up decent totals. Again, there's a lot of rookies this year that have been, of the superstar variety. And there's a lot of guys flying under the radar. Colorado. Where do you start with Colorado? McKinnon, 39 points, 57 games. Duchesne, 36 points in 52. Rantanen is playing well. Again, another rookie. 28 points in 52 games. Landeskog, 27 points in 43 games, or 23 points in 47 games. I honestly cannot believe how poor the offensive stats are for the Colorado players. These guys should all be, in 57 games, McKinnon should be at 50 points. Duchesne should be at 51 points in 52 games. Like, these guys should be in those kinds of point ranges, and I don't understand what's happened there. Columbus, of course, Atkinson was the big story. 50 points, 58 games right now. Foligno, 42 points. Saad, 41 points. Gagne, 34 points. He's fallen off, but he's still been quite the find for them, considering they got a bargain with him. And Wenberg, 48 points in 38 games. Only 10 goals, but still 38 assists in 58 games is fantastic. And some kid, Seth Jones, 10 goals, 34 points, 52 games. Him and Werenski, that's a pretty devastating tandem on the blue line. And for Werenski, 4 power play goals, 14 power play assists. I still think that kid's going to be top 3 in rookies by the end of the year. He's been a big part of the turnaround in Columbus. Tyler Seguin leads the way in Dallas with 59 points in 60 games. His defense has been terrible, but everybody in Dallas has terrible defense right now, so I really can't say anything. Even Patrick Eaves, who I've talked about in videos as being better. Yeah, he's a -10, 37 points, 59 games, 21 goals. If anybody wants to get a rental out of Dallas and wants value, call about Eaves. Dallas should be listening, and Eaves could be a really fantastic pickup for the right team. Ben, 54 points, 56 games. He's had a middling year for him. Spezza, 32 points in 48 games. His game seems to have tailed off. Fox has been amazing lately. 27 points, 58 games, doesn't tell the whole tale there. Antoine Roussel's hat trick gets him into double digits. Korpikoski. I'm only going through the first page of these players. Klingberg's 32 points, 58 games. He hasn't been as good as he was last year, but who has in Dallas? Detroit, Zetterberg, 45 points, 59 games. Nice bounce-back season for him. And being the number 1 scorer, I don't think this is what Detroit had in mind. They'd expected Larkin to be here. Larkin, 19 points in 57 games. I know everybody's going to tell me he's going to bounce back. It's the sophomore jinx. You might be right, but those are alarming numbers. They're really bad numbers. Tatar had a nice goal. in a game yesterday. Nyquist only had 7 goals this year at the time of his suspension. 29 points, 56 games does not get it done. Mantha, 31 points in 44 games, masks some of those guys who are underachieving. And Vanek with 37 points, 46 games, is going to be a rental. And I'm not sure where he's going to go, but I think he could be a really good value rental. And Athanasiou, 14 goals in 44 games, only 20 points, but those 14 goals, he's full value for that. He's a very dynamic player. Edmonton, McDavid. Draisaitl, 52 points in 59 games. Eberle's been okay at times. Lucic has not been what Edmonton wanted him to be. I know Edmonton fans are going to say, oh, he's not bad. 32 points in 59 games. He was brought in to be that big scoring winger. And the scoring winger has been Patrick Maroon for the most part. 20 goals in 59 games. He's tailed off. Maroon's tailed off too. But the fact that he scored 8 more goals than Lucic, 2 less points, but his plus-minus is 19 points higher than Lucic. I don't know, man. I really got to wonder if you went back to July 1st, if Chiarelli just would have taken a pass on Lucic and looked somewhere else. Letestu, 27 points, 56 games. Letestu's a very good player. I'm not sure why he doesn't get more attention. Clefbaum's damn good. Sekera's better than he gets credit for as well. Cashian, 16 points in 56 games. Cashian's not ever going to be the offensive player that was envisioned when he was drafted or when Vancouver traded for him. But he did outlast Cody Hodgson in the NHL. Florida, Trocheck has been great. Barkov has been very good too. I say that because people are like, what do you mean Barkov's not great? I got you. Marchessault, his totals have come down a little bit from where they were early in the season, but he's still been fantastic for the price. Yager is... I honestly think Yager should retire at the end of this year. I think before his totals get really poor, I think this is a perfect time to retire. Riley Smith's numbers have not been good. No matter what way you slice it, they haven't got the value for him. Colton Seaver's been good in his role. Ekblad, his numbers are bad. They're really bad. And Jokinen, this is just a matter of some guys are getting older. Ekblad's still learning. Jokinen's getting older. Yager's older. And I know Luongo is probably going to be Reimer's backup by the end of the year. I got a funny feeling on that one. Reimer looked great last night, and Luongo didn't look great in the last game I watched for Florida. Sorry for the stutter. LA, Carter. He's 20 points ahead of second place on the team in scoring. He has been a machine for them. 29 goals in 58 games. Pearson second. Not many people talk about Pearson outside LA. I'm not sure why. I've liked Pearson a lot since he was a rookie. Kopitar, 33 points in 52 games. 6 goals for Kopitar. 6. Doughty has 8. Drew Doughty is a better offensive player right now than Kopitar. I don't know. And Martinez, 28 points. He's a guy that nobody outside of LA, I think, talks about, but Martinez is a very good defenseman. And if you want to look at dried up offense, look no further than Brown, who has 27 points, 56 games. Toffoli could be a wild card, 21 points, 39 games. I like Toffoli a lot. I think he has a lot to offer. Minnesota, well, where do you start with Minnesota? The fact that there's 6 guys at almost 20 goals already. You've got Granlund, Stahl, Koivu, Coyle, Niederreiter, and Zucker. And Pominville has 10 goals. I guess he could score 10 the rest of the way. Parisi has 13. He can definitely score 7 the rest of the way. It is one hell of a list. Spurgeon's great on the blue line, 28 points. Suter's 33 points. I've discussed before that I think with everybody talking about Brent Burns that Suter gets kind of forgotten. Suter, at the very least, has to be nominated for the Norris Trophy this year. He has to be. He's been amazing for Minnesota. Believe me, Wild fans are going to be on here telling you that I'm right. It's an insane list of scoring players for Minnesota this year. They have a lot of depth. Montreal, Pacioretty, who at the start of the year was being called the worst captain in the league by his coach, or worst captain in Montreal history, he has 51 points in 59 games, 28 goals. I don't know what people are thinking. If Pacioretty ever feels unwanted in Montreal, there's 29 other teams that will take him. Radulov Has been really good, not necessarily with the goals, but he's been good for them when they need him to be. 42 points is very respectable, and he'll definitely get an offer to come back next year. Shea Weber has cooled off a lot. I'm going to admit, Shea Weber's cooled off a lot, and his plus-minus has come down quite a bit. It's been pretty brutal. And Galchenyuk. Watch for Galchenyuk's numbers to go up quite a bit with Claude Julien. Julien really believes in Galchenyuk, and that's good for him. Deneau, good numbers. Paul Byron, good numbers. Don't hit your goalie in the collarbone. Okay, Byron, keep the puck down on practices. You start injuring Carey Price. Your 14 goals mean nothing to Montreal fans if you injure Carey Price. Petrie's been fantastic. Markov is serviceable, especially considering age being where it is. And Beaulieu, I have seen some brutal plays from him, but I've seen some good plays from him. It's a risk-reward thing with him. And Plekanec, he's got to go. Plekanec is damn near done. Nashville, Johansson, people have been defending him today. 40 points in 58 games, might be the leading scorer for the team in Nashville, but 9 goals now. I don't think he's full value. For $4 million, 9 goals I think is a little low. Arvidsson, 39 points, 18 goals, good plus minus, good at every part of the game. Forsberg got a hat trick tonight. His totals are getting better. Fisher, for his age and for the amount of miles that have been put on him, he's doing well. Neal, 17 goals in 49 games is good. Yossi is one of the most underrated defensemen. I don't know if you could call him underrated now. Ribeiro's gone. Subban, his numbers haven't been great either. It's funny how Subban and Weber have kind of followed the same trajectory in different ways, but they're kind of at the same level. Ellis, I like Ellis quite a bit. And Wilson, I don't know if Wilson's ever going to hit those offensive totals in the regular season that he's shown that he can in the playoffs. Jersey, well, we all knew Hall was going to be good, but we thought he'd score more than 14 goals in 49 games. 40 points is good, though. Palmieri with 35 points in 57 games. I'm not sure why Anaheim got rid of him. Zajac has been very serviceable. Good two-way forward. Henrique, 15 goals, 32 points. He has not had the offensive turnover that I thought he would, playing with Hall. Camilleri, 30 points in 51 games, 10 goals. He may get rented out if anybody wants to take him on. Severson's been fantastic, but his defense apparently is brutal because he's a minus 28 in 59 games, and he's way below everybody else. But it's been a down year for New Jersey, so I'm not going to hold that against him. Parento is being rumored to be a rental. 13 goals in 57 games is kind of an ouch. If he's not scoring, he's hurting you. Zaka has 16 points in 51 games. He's been hit and miss, but he's not getting top minutes right now, so I'm not going to criticize him for that. Miles Wood, I've mentioned before. I love that kid. I think he's got a bright future. Islanders, Tavares, 49 points, 58 games. He's had a turnaround under Doug Weight. Bailey with 39 points, 58 games. There's some guys picking up totals here. Doug Waite's really encouraging his players, and he's got them playing better. Ryan Strome is still sitting in bust territory with 25 points, 55 games, but he may never be that offensive player that he was drafted to be either. And that's okay. Boychuk, 21 points, 54 games. His totals have started turning around. And Andrew Ladd, despite all the crap I've heaped on him all year, he does have 16 goals. He's only got 6 assists, but he does have 16 goals. So he has scored some key goals for the Islanders, and I will acknowledge that. I would still keep on Capozzo, but they didn't feel they had that option. New York Rangers, JT Miller is the #1 scorer, and for good reason. It's kind of crept up. Zuccarello, damn good forward. Love the kid. Great energy. Steppen, Hayes, Kreider, Grabner. Grabner's still sitting with 26 goals. Incredibly streaky player, that Grabner, isn't he? If you're a Rangers fan, you should be nodding right now. He's very, very streaky. McDonough's point totals, only 3 goals, but 30 assists is nice. 33 points. And Nash with a nice goal tonight. If he wakes up, the Rangers get that much more dangerous, because right now you're looking at probably 5 guys who are 20-goal players. If Nash can really turn it on towards the end and hit maybe 25 goals by season's end, they're dangerous in the playoffs. Big time. The team I drastically underrated, the Ottawa Senators. Carlson, 51 points. For a defenseman, he's fantastic. The problem is there's this kid in San Jose who's doing pretty well, too. He looks like Chewbacca. Mark Stone missed the game tonight with that concussion that people said didn't hurt him. 47 points, 56 games. He's been playing really well lately. I really hope that concussion doesn't cause him to go off the rails at all. Turris, 41 points. Hoffman, 39. He missed the game tonight, too. Brassard hasn't been a great offensive force, but Zibanejad hasn't been with the Rangers either, so the Senators are winning that trade right now. Smith, 14 goals. Dzingel, I love Dzingel, I've said that before. And Dion Phaneuf. People really underrate Dion Phaneuf. I keep hearing about how much Dion Phaneuf sucks, and yet whenever I watch an Ottawa game, I'm impressed with what his game has become. And I'm a guy who said Dion Phaneuf sucked. I have a Dion Phaneuf jersey in part because it's fun to make fun of Phaneuf, but right now he's not giving me anything to make fun of him for. In Philly, Voracek's become the leading scorer with 49 points. Giroux is quieted down, and that hurts Philly when he's not scoring. Simmons, great goal scorer. Shen, I think the alarming thing with Philly is, in terms of plus-minus, you look at the top guys, and I know there's a lot of people who don't like plus-minus. Look at this. Minus 17 for Voracek, minus 20 for Giroux, minus 20 for Simmons, minus 20 for Shen, minus 22 for Gosper. So for Gosper to be a minus 22, that's why he gets benched every now and then. That's why his ice time gets cut now and then, because he is... Provorov is a minus 11, and he's got 1 less point with 6 more games played. So Provorov is having a very good season. And from games I've watched of Phillies, Provorov has definitely impressed me. So is Konechny. It hurts that he got injured when he did, because Konechny really impressed me. And Couturier. I really thought Couturier was going to have a really fantastic offensive season, and it just hasn't turned out. He may need to trade to hit what he was supposed to be as a rookie. Crosby, 65 points, 52 games. I've documented before that I think Crosby gets the scoring title anytime he wants. Malkin's, 59 points, 51 games. He's overshadowed by Crosby, but fantastic season. Kessel, 55 points, 21 goals. He loves not being the main guy. Sheary's out, and it hurts because he has 17 goals. Rust's out, it hurts because he has 12. Bonino's 8 goals are a bit of a disappointment. Hornquist, 17 are nice. Schultz, of course, being out is a huge out for Pittsburgh right now. He had 39 points, 56 games at the time of his injury, and a plus 31 rating, which is far and above the best on the team. So that definitely hurts them a lot. San Jose. Burns, 64 points in 60 games, 27 goals. For a defenseman, he is into really heady territory now. This is crazy. Pavelski's 52 points is solid. Couture's 39 is solid. Thornton with 39 points in 60 games. Only 5 goals. But Marleau has 21, so Marleau will finish off those Thornton passes until they both retire. Probably together, probably both of them as Sharks. Ward only has 7 goals, but he is 35, and this is kind of what happens at a certain age. Things start to fall off. Bodker has been a flop, but not for a huge cap hit, so it was a reasonable gamble. It just hasn't really worked. He only has 6 goals and 19 points in 59 games. Vlasic's playing really well. LeBanc, San Jose fans love LeBanc. He's having a good rookie year. Again, these rookies are flying under the radar. In St. Louis, Tarasenko's been very good. Of course, Shattenkirk is the hottest name on the potential trade market. I say it because there hasn't really been a trade market. The Michael Stone trade was the biggest one so far, and that's a rental. I don't see St. Louis trading Shattenkirk because he's been a fantastic defenseman for them. I watched a St. Louis game last week. I'm trying to think who they were playing, and he basically dragged them to where they got. Steen. Well, Toronto had Steen. Steen's a good, serviceable top 6 guy. 12 goals, 54 games, 39 points altogether. I like Jaden Schwartz. He's got 37 points. Perron, 32 points. Perron, you get what you get with David Perron. About 20 goals, about 50 points, maybe. 45 to 50. Berglund's been on a tear with goals, but that's kind of a mirage. I don't see him being that kind of player. But, I wish the best for Patrick Berglund because I think he's a good player and just had some bad breaks. In Tampa, Kucherov, 49 points, 51 games. I believe that's cooled off from where he was at middle of the season, but considering some of the bad breaks this team has had, he's having a good season. Hedman is having a fantastic season, 48 points, 55 games. Again, all these defensemen with, the seasons they're having, I would think the top three right now are probably Carlson, Burns, and Suter. But you could argue for Keith. You could argue for Hedman. You could argue for a lot of guys right now. You could argue for Doughty. It's not going to be an easy trophy to award this year. Drouin is finally getting it together. 36 points, 50 games, and Drouin's been playing really well lately and had some highlight reel moves on assists and goals. So he finally may be realizing his potential. Tyler Johnson's had a better year this year than last year. Filppula, if anybody wants Filppula, just call Steve Yzerman. Killorn, he scores key goals whenever I watch a Tampa game. Palat, I think, is an underrated forward. Boyle's going to be a big acquisition at the trade deadline if somebody pulls the trigger on him. If Tampa decides they're selling, then he's going to be a key guy. In Toronto, I've discussed these guys. Matthews, Marner. Kadri's had a much better season this year than I had expected out of him. And I will admit, Kadri's had a very good season. It's funny, though, because he takes a bad penalty that leads to a Winnipeg goal, and he scores. So he's your best friend and your worst enemy in the same game. And that's kind of the Kadri thing. Van Riemsdyk, underrated. I don't know why everybody's ready to trade him, but right under him is Nylander, who everybody seems to be willing to trade. Stop it. Stop trying to trade good players. You waited for years in Toronto to get good guys and get good depth. Stop trying to get rid of it. I know your blue line is hurting. I watched Gardner tonight fumbling around with the puck, and Zaitsev was a nightmare on a couple of plays tonight. But guess what? Nobody's giving away defensemen, and you don't give away young players like Nylander. Connor Brown's pretty fantastic. I like Brown quite a bit. 20-goal potential there for sure. Vancouver, it's the Bo Horvat show. 40 points in 59 games, 18 goals. Doesn't tell the whole story. Horvat's been really good at both ends of the ice. Really impressed with his game. The Sedins have dried up. 36 points in 60 games for Henrik. 34 points in 60 games for Daniel. Their offense is gone. For the most part, it's gone. It's just because they get all kinds of ice time that it looks better than what it is. Brandon Sutter, 15 goals and 27 points, 59 games. They had a big Sportsnet video about him having the worst goal song on the Canucks, and people on Twitter basically saying that they wish his goal song would die and telling him his song sucks. It was actually funny watching him read the tweets. Baertschi's out with a concussion. He had 13 goals in 50 games at the time. I still don't see Baertschi as a top six forward. I'm sorry. Granlund, on the other hand, Granlund's really impressed me. Marcus Granlund, I think, has potential to be a 20-goal, 45-point player at some point. Louis Eriksson has not impressed me at all as a Canuck. 11 goals in 60 games, 22 points. Does not get it done. Burroughs is playing very well. He wants to either get traded or re-signed. It's one or the other. He definitely doesn't feel like his career is done, and he's been playing like it lately. Which makes you madder because you wonder, was he just not making the effort before now? Washington. We're almost there, boys and girls, I promise. Backstrom, 61 points. Ovechkin, 52 points, but 27 goals. Ovechkin seems to be slowing down. We seem to finally reach the point where Ovechkin's slowing down. Kuznetsov, 45 points in 58 games, 12 goals. Oshie, 41 points in 49 games. Johansson, 40 points. Williams, 32 points. There's a lot to like here for depth, but the fact that Ovechkin's slowing down kind of scares me about my prediction that they're going to win the Stanley Cup. I'm sticking to it, but I'm scared. Because if Ovechkin is slowing down, I think that makes it even harder. Winnipeg, Scheifele, 60 points in 59 games. Scheifele, full value. He is a superstar in this league now. Patrick Laine is also a superstar in this league. I would, if Winnipeg somehow manages to weasel their way into the playoffs, I wouldn't want to play those weasels in the first round. Even if you're Minnesota, I don't think you want Winnipeg in the first round. Wheeler, that's if they get goaltending though. Wheeler has picked it up lately. Ehlers has picked it up. Bufflin is Bufflin. Colliding with a goalie tonight didn't help, but you know, crashing the net is what he does, so it's sort of part of his game. And Little's been very good in the games I've watched. Trouba, of course, is out with the suspension right now. He's played well. I don't know if he'll ever be the defenseman that he thinks he's going to be, or that some Winnipeg fans think he's going to be, but he's serviceable. Perreault had a lot of jump tonight. He only has 6 goals in 45 games, but at least he had a lot of jump, and Morrissey looked good too. So there's your scoring for all 30 teams. Let me know in the comments below who surprised you, good or bad. And yeah, so you know, and which names you're surprised to even hear, because there are names I look at that I'm kind of surprised by how poorly they're doing, how well they're doing. This is the 3-quarter mark. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you all again tomorrow.